Welcome back, everybody, to the Cleveland Cavaliers MyLeague here on NBA2K21. Today we have a big episode upcoming. Last time we played a game against the Denver Nuggets and unfortunately lost, giving us a record of 19-20. We also had a prospect profile going over some of the top guards in the upcoming draft class. So if you missed that episode or missed any episode in the series, you can always check out the series playlist if you want to take a look at some of the top guards in this year's draft class. Here's a brief look at the stats. Not a whole lot of things to talk about other than Collin Sexton and Kevin Love both having minor injuries. Sexton is playing through it, and for right now, Kevin Love is not. Love is a little bit older, so we want to be a little bit more smarter with him. So the trade deadline is in about a month, and we're in a very interesting spot with kind of being in the middle. We're not really bad, but we're also not really good. Contract extension deadline is today. We're not going to make any moves. Dante Exum actually wanted to re-sign, and I kind of feel bad because we're about to trade him. We are going to shuffle the roster a little bit, and it involves trading Exum. I don't really see him as a long-term piece on this core, and I'm okay with trading him. So we're going to be sending him along with a future second-round pick to the San Antonio Spurs in exchange for forward Trey Lyles. Not to mention, we will be swapping 2025 first-round picks, where we will receive the better of our pick or San Antonio's pick. Trey Lyles, I think, is a better player and is more of a long-term asset than Dante Exum. He's averaging around 8 and 5 per game this year as a stretch big, 6'9", 234, can shoot for rock, solid rebounder. Not a great defender, but I mean, he's an okay bench piece. Gonna be making another move. Two of our bench warmers, Jakar Sampson, Alfonso McKinney, and 2 second-round picks are going to the Minnesota Timberwolves in exchange for second-round rookie Udoka Azubuike and Frank Mason III. We are really rebuilding the 2017 Kansas Jayhawks with Frank Mason, Josh Jackson, and a young 17-year-old Udoka Azubuike. Totally not a biased Kansas fan with all of these moves. Frank Mason's been a serviceable bench player in his NBA career. He's going to be the G League for right now. And then Udoka Azubuike will start with the professional squad. Here are his G League numbers. I don't know how he's shooting 32% from the field. That's bogus. He led the NCAA in field goal percentage last year. He also doesn't shoot any threes. So those stats are like totally not representative of him at all, but whatever. And then the big trade. Larry Nance is going to the Denver Nuggets for Jeremy Grant, and we will be swapping first-round picks this year, so we will get the better of our pick and the Houston Rockets pick, and for what it's worth, Houston is really bad, so this gives us insurance if we get unlucky in the draft lottery or one of us or Houston starts to play really well. So 3 big trades. Larry Nance, Jakar Sampson, Alfonso McKinney, Dante Exum are gone, and we now have Udoka Azubuike, Frank Mason, and Jeremy Grant. I didn't really go over Jeremy Grant, but I think he could be a really good piece for our core. He's an athletic forward who can shoot the 3 ball and play good defense. I think he's a better player than Larry Nance. The only problem is Larry Nance is on a team-friendly contract for another 2 seasons after this one, and Jeremy Grant is an unrestricted free agent, and we'll have to see how he plays to determine if we want to bring him back. So there are the standings. As you can see, the Rockets are really bad. And here is the new look lineup for the next couple of weeks until Kevin Love comes back. You may notice no Darius Garland in the starting lineup. We are moving him to the bench just because we don't have any guards coming off the bench with Dante Exum gone. So I felt that was pretty necessary. Jeremy Grant will play power forward as a starter, and Obi Toppin will move to the 3. So as you can see, lots of big moves in Cleveland. Jeremy Grant, Udoka Azubuike, Frank Mason are now with the squad, along with a few extra pick swaps and a little bit more leverage in case this team keeps winning and can still have a very high draft pick. Today, the opponent is the 26-15 Memphis Grizzlies, who are a really, really good basketball team led by the dynamic duo of Ja Morant and Jaren Jackson Jr. Obviously, we all know Ja is a future superstar, but Jaren Jackson Jr. is one hell of a ball player. He is the definition of a today's NBA power forward, and he is going to be a star in this league for a long time. Jeremy Grant's first shot as a Cavalier is unsuccessful. Andre Drummond with the putback. Tied at 4. There's Ja Morant going upstairs where Grandma hides the cookies. Big game for Ja, a career day for Ja to be specific. You'll see plenty more of him later as D'Anthony Melton gets the layup. There's Jonas Valanciunas with the dunk. And the Cavs offense has just been really bad so far. Only 10 points in the first 5 minutes of the game. There's Ja with a layup, 24-10. The Grizzlies are dominating, just clicking on all cylinders as Bryn Forbes connects from Atlanta far, far away, and it is a 17-point lead here in the first quarter. However, the rookie Udoka Azubuike with his first NBA basket, moment he will surely never forget. Azubuike then blocks the big fella Montrezl Harrell, who does get the rebound and the putback. 16-32 late here in the first quarter. Ja Morant with it, gets the pick from Montrezl Harrell. Ja going inside with a little rack attack. Two-handed slam. And the Grizzlies lead it by 16 with 1.2 seconds left here in the first quarter. Ja heaves up a prayer. It does not even hit the rim, which I guess isn't that much of a surprise. And the Grizzlies are dominating through one. They lead it 34-16. Let's move to the second now. Here's Colin Sexton with the drive. LeVar Ball wants it stay in your lane, but there's nobody in that lane. 21-36 now, and inbound is Justice Winslow. Gets it to D'Anthony Melton, the former USC Trojan. Passes it out for the big man, Gorgui Dieng, for 3. 23-41 now. The Grizzlies continue to dominate, and the Cavs are going to try to start a comeback. Obi Toppin hits the 3. Colin Sexton with a little shimmy step back on Dylan Brooks. He connects from deep, and Cleveland's trying to make this game a little bit closer. 29-43. Winslow's shot is blocked by Andre Drummond. He says, "Get Dad out of here." And then Obi Toppin with the lob for Jeremy Grant. Welcome to Cleveland, kiddo. What a dunk from Grant. He's an athlete, all right. We'll see plenty of those as D'Anthony Melton connects from deep. Memphis up by 15. Here's Sexton inside with another slam. Not known as a huge dunker, but he dunked it a lot today, which is interesting. 35-50, 2:50 to go in the first half. Melton over to Morant. He's going to pass it out for the open Montrezl Harrell. And these Memphis big men are stretching the floor. Harrell from deep. 39-55 now. Memphis on offense is Ja Morant. Inside has Azubuike in his face, but still makes the layup. 41-57. Brandon Clark now, the second-year pro out of Gonzaga with the slam. 41-59. The rookie Azubuike cuts inside for the dunk. Azubuike 3 for 3 so far from the field in his NBA debut as Ja Morant sends out a lob for Montrezl Harrell late here in the first half. 43-63. Cavs going to try to get a late shot off as Porter gets it for Cedi Osman, who beats the buzzer in the corner, and Cleveland makes the game a little bit closer. 46-63. Ja Morant has just been really good so far in this game, and the Cavs haven't really had an answer. 12-8 for Morant. He nearly has a double-double. Darius Garland with 6 points and 7 assists so far in his first career game off the bench. He's never come off the bench yet. That is wild to me, but true. On to half number 2. Cavs trying to come back down 17, and hey, that is almost a pretty good start. No, it is a good start. Jerry and Grant with the and 1. Grant had an okay first half. He showed flashes, but wasn't great. Here's Ja Morant, denied at the rim by the big fella. Andre Drummond passes it out for Grant, who loses it. Gets it right back to Dre, and he's going to go inside for the layup. Cavs only down by 14. They're making this, or at least trying to make this a game. Here's Ja, tightly guarded by Sexton. Getting mean with the screen. And the Grizzlies now have a very nice amount of points on the scoreboard. You love to see it. 55-69. Here's Kevin Porter Jr. No good, but Jeremy Grant gets it back in contact with the putback. 57-69. Here's Sexton. Step back, 3-ball. And it is a single-digit lead now for Memphis. Ensuing Cavs possession. Sexton again from 3. And all of a sudden, the Cavs are only down by 2 scores. Well, now they're down by 3 scores. 63-71. There's Udoka Azubuike with his third dunk of his debut. And Cleveland is only down by 8. They've had a really good third quarter. Trey Lyles now with his first basket as a Cavalier. and it will remain an 8-point game as Garland inside for the and one. Harrell causes the foul, and it's a one-score game, 74-77. The Grizzlies have just collapsed, but they're going to try to make this one a little bit closer with a good slam from Harrell, as here is Justice Winslow with the nice layup. 76-85. Cavs trying to get a last-second shot before the third quarter ends, and Lyles does not get it off in time. So Memphis leads it by 9 going into the fourth quarter. A good 8 minutes for Cleveland, and now they need another good 8 minutes if they want to win. KPJ starting with a step-back attempt, no good. But Cedi Osman grabs the board, no good. Grabs his board a second time. And you know the old saying, third time's the charm with that one. 78-87, Toppin for Grant, who passes it back out to Toppin. Contested 3 at the top of the key. And it's good, 81-87. Toppin now with the beautiful Euro step for the layup. And it is now 84-89. Drummond with the steal. Nothing but open court ahead. Andre Drummond with the slam as the Grizzlies only lead by 7. Good pass from Ja over to DeAnthony Melton for the layup. 97-91. Morant trying to get past Garland. Tight defense by the second-year pro out of Vanderbilt as Morant spinning his way forward. Passes it out for Justice Winslow, who gets the 3. 91-100 now in favor of the Grizz kids as Colin Sexton misses. Drummond with the board. Over to Kevin Porter Jr. He connects from deep, and it is now 96-102 with 2.5 to go as Jonas Valanciunas with a huge and one. Drummond is called for the foul. That's a huge basket for the Grizzlies. They will get the ball back shortly after as Morant back to Jonas Valanciunas for the dunk. 96-107. The Cavs need a really big comeback as Sexton denied at the rim by Jaren Jackson, who's had a pretty quiet game for the most part. Ja cooks past Sexton for a nice play inside. 96-111. Cavs need to be pretty much perfect the rest of the way as Grant with it. Passes it out for Toppin for Kevin Porter Jr. again from deep. And it is now 99-114. Sexton back out to Porter. Another fourth quarter 3. But will it be enough? 12-point lead for the Grizzlies as DeAnthony Melton makes the layup with 22 seconds left. That's pretty much how the game would end as Valanciunas dribbles out the clock. Very nice fight here from the Cavs in the second half to keep it competitive, but unfortunately to no avail. The Grizzlies win it 104-116. Obviously, the chemistry was not going to be perfect with 3 new Cavaliers, but, I mean, that's to be expected, especially against a good team like Memphis on the road. Ja Morant looked like a superstar in this one, 35 points, 16 rebounds. I did not catch how many points he had, but that had to have been a really big number. For Cleveland, KPJ was the leading scorer with 19. Sexton, Toppin, Grant, and Drummond all in the double figures. Drummond with a double-double. Garland in his first game off the bench with 9 and 9. Udoka Azubuike in his NBA debut goes 4 for 4 with 8 points, 3 dunks, and 2 rebounds. He did look a little bit slow out there, and that's what you're going to get with Udoka, but he's a guy who can score inside, grab some boards, and I think provide solid energy off the bench. Kevin Love has officially returned from his injury. The starting lineup will remain the same since Love was coming off the bench, and he was playing well. He was playing better so far this season off the bench than in the starting lineup. Udoka Azubuike, by the way, won't be getting any minutes for a while. In the 3 sim games he played in, he was bad. He played well in the Grizzly game, but against the Bulls, 10 minutes, didn't do anything offensively. But the next 2 games are where I have concerns. Win against the Knicks, he went 1 for 5. Loss against the Wizards, he went 1 for 6. That's not the Udoka Azubuike that we saw in college, so I think he still needs to adjust a little bit to the NBA. Probably going to send him down to the G League pretty soon. Also, Jeremy Grant has suffered 2 different injuries within the span of like a week. His second one was when he bent over and split his pants, so that's fun. But I originally had him playing through the first injury, but since he's gotten 2 injuries now, he will be out for a little bit. He won't be out for a while, maybe a week or so. So he did some more simming, went 2-1 in that span after the Kevin Love injury. And the second episode of the day, or the second game of the episode, sorry, will be against the 32-15 Toronto Raptors, technically on St. Patrick's Day, but since the calendar is like such a mess, the dates, I just don't really count the dates for anything. So no Jeremy Grant in this one. The starters for the Cavs will be Sexton, Porter, Osman, Toppin, and Drummond. Darius Garland still adjusting to his bench role. Probably going to keep that for a while until or unless the Cavs add another guard to get some minutes. As to open up the game, there's Fred VanVleet with the and 1. VanVleet signed a pretty big contract in the offseason to stay in Toronto. Kevin Porter Jr. called for the foul, as it is now 9-10. Look at that play by Spicy P. Pascal Siakam. 11-14. Siakam with the lob for OG Anunoby, the British native, with the slam. So far, Cleveland is holding their own against one of the best teams here in the NBA. As there's Trey Lyles with the slam. He can go up there and send it home. 17-18. Here's Terrence Davis, the former undrafted free agent out of Ole Miss. Hotty toddy with the layup. There is KPJ over to Kevin Love with a powerful two-handed dunk. 19-20. Speaking of Kevin Porter Jr., he's going to go up for the slam now. Cavs up by 1 here at the end of the first quarter. Is KPJ going to try to heave up a shot? Very nice defense by Siakam, as Porter's long 2 would be off the mark. But Cleveland does lead it by 1 through 1. On to the second. Here's Colin Sexton, who played quite well in the first. Going to start the second with a bang. That's an and 1. Davis is called for the foul. 29-31. Obi Toppin now. Tough layup. And the 5th overall pick out of Dayton will get it to go in. 29-33. The lob from Osman over to Colin Sexton. And it's not a dunk, but it's still a lob technically. 29-35. The big fella, Marc Gasol, cuts the lead in half as Toronto is now only down by 3. 32-35. Kevin Porter Jr. gets past the defender and takes it all the way for an and 1 slam. Marc Gasol is called for the foul. Excellent offensive play by KPJ. Speaking of Kevin Porter, he's going to pass it inside for Obi Toppin, who gets the slam. 36-42. Quick 3 from Terrence Davis. It goes in. Actually, that's a long 2, sorry. And the Raptors are now only down by 4. 38-42. Sexton trying to drive past Davis. He gets it inside for Love, who is fouled by Chris Boucher. That's an and 1. And the Cavs are now up by 5 with under a minute to play in the half. There's Sexton with the slam. He currently has 15 points and 4 assists right now, as Toronto trying to end the first half off strong. Siakam, no good. Nice defense by Kevin Porter Jr. And that'll do it for the first half. Your Cleveland Cavaliers lead it 51-42. Really playing well in front of the home fans against one of the top 2 seeds in the Eastern Conference. As we take a look at the halftime report, Sexton with 19 points right now. Siakam leading the way for Toronto with 10 points, as Cleveland's just outplaying them. The Cavs have really been one of the more surprising teams in the NBA. When they started off hot this year, I assumed it was just a lucky start and they'd fizzled down. But as you can see, this has been a competitive basketball team fighting for a playoff spot. Andre Drummond with the putback, 49-53. Toppin over to Colin Sexton for the right-handed slam. Cleveland leads it by 6. Anunoby, guarded by Cedi Osman, trying to go inside. His layup is no good. Gasol gets it back and will put it back. 51-55. Cavs will call timeout after that one, as it has been a close third quarter so far. Here is Darius Garland. He had a quiet first half. Going to pass it out for Cedi Osman. No good. Tipped by Toppin. Kevin Porter Jr. for rebound. Over to Toppin inside for Darius Garland, who gets the and 1. Gasol with the foul. Cleveland now up by 7. As Porter over to Garland, passes it out for Cedi Osman. No good. But Drummond is there for rebound, and the Cavs are just out-rebounding and out-muscling these Toronto Raptors right now. There's Siakam with the slam, 57-64, as we are about halfway through the third quarter. Kevin Porter Jr. now trying to make a play inside, and he gets the and 1. How many and 1s have the Cavs had today? It's got to be at least like 3 or 4 so far. There's Trey Lyles now. He gets an and 1, and Cleveland is on a hot streak. They now lead this game by 13. 63-76. Garland with the slam. He may be a short king, but he's rising up. Speaking of Garland rising up, he gets the alley-oop from Kevin Porter Jr. Big third quarter from Darius Garland after a slow start. There's Chris Boucher, the former Oregon Duck, with the slam. 69, nice, to 84. As you can see, it's been a big third quarter for the Cavs as Sexton misses the buzzer beater shot, but still, massive third quarter for Cleveland. Let's see if they can close this one out here in the fourth and get a huge upset win against one of the Eastern Conference best. 75-88, Raptors trying to stay alive as Colin Sexton gets the dunk. Quiet third quarter for Sexton for the most part. He's going to try to start the fourth quarter off hot as Garland gets the steal. Passes it for Colin Sexton with the two-handed dunk. Colin Sexton, as I said earlier today, is not a dunker, but he's been throwing him down. 77-92, huge three ball for Siakam as Toronto is now only down by 12. Drummond pump fakes to Colin Sexton from deep, and he drills it. Cavs up by 15 with 4 minutes to play. Garland inside for Andre Drummond. That's an and one. Gasol called for the foul, and whenever Cleveland is drawing contact, they're getting these shots to sink in. Big bucket by Lowry as it's 88-99. Van Vliet with the lob for Anunoby, and Toronto is now only down by 9 with 3 minutes to go, and they have all of the momentum right now. Sexton passes it out for Chetty. Osman from deep. Huge three for Chetty, who has not looked particularly great today, but he makes it when it counts most. 92-102, Toppin for the layup, and he connects. Cavs lead it by 12 with 2 minutes to play. Kevin Porter Jr. now wide open in the corner from Atlanta far, far away. That's pretty much all she wrote. And the Cleveland Cavaliers win it, 113-96. This is a good win for the Cavs. I'm very impressed with this performance on both ends of the floor today for the Cleveland Cavaliers, led by a dominant offensive output from guard Colin Sexton. He led the way with 34 points and 6 assists. Toppin, Drummond, Porter, Garland, and Lyles all in the double figures. Drummond once again with a double-double. So a very good performance offensively, and then defensively. Under 100 points, that's a pretty big accomplishment in today's NBA. Siakam with 21, Fred VanVleet with 18, Lowry 16, Davis and Anunoby also in the double figures. Neither team shot well from deep. Both teams only made 3 threes each, which is not a lot. So now we're at the stage where the all-star teams are decided. We got Team Giannis and Team Curry. And I assume we wouldn't have any all-stars, but look at the bench for Team Giannis. Andre Drummond from your Cleveland Cavaliers is an all-star. He made 2 all-star games as a member of the Detroit Pistons and makes his first all-star game representing the Cavs. This kind of surprised me. Statistically, Drummond is not having one of his better seasons. He's been good, but I honestly don't think he's been all-star deserving. I mean, I'm not going to complain. Actually, I am going to complain because Drummond is going to probably, or it's more likely now that he's named as an all-star, it's more likely he's going to ask for a max contract in the summer. And, well, that's not ideal for us. Nonetheless, his free throw percentage is the highest it's ever been, so there's that. We would send the final 3 games before the trade deadline, losing all 3 of them, including one to the Knicks. Like, the Thunder and Warriors, that's acceptable, but the goddamn Knicks? Nonetheless, as we are 23-29, we are still the 8th seed, which is wild to me. I get the East sucks balls, but, like, come on, Indiana, Orlando, are you going to give us any competition? So, we're in a good position. We can go out and sell some pieces like Kevin Love, or we can go out and try to get a piece for a postseason run. I didn't think I'd say that in year 1, but here we are. Hope everybody enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you're new. I'm out. Deuces.